breath. Give your body a little oxygen. Let it out. Take another deep breath. And we always know. And what we know is that there is one infinite, absolute, creative something. It is in, through, and as all things. It is beyond time and space. It is infinite. It is self-existent. It is absolute first cause. And that oneness, since there is nothing other than it, creates out of itself and becomes that which it created. So whatever is created out of spirit, God, life, love, whatever word you want to use to describe it. And because it is created out of that, then it is whatever that is. So we are whatever God is. We are whatever spirit is because we are created out of spirit stuff. We are created out of God stuff and nothing else. So breathe that in. We are spiritual beings because we are created out of spirit. We live in a spiritual universe because the universe is created out of spirit. And all is governed by spiritual law. So right here and right now, we claim for ourselves all of the wisdom of the divine, all of the intelligence of God itself. We know our lives are a perfect idea manifested in form. We allow ourselves to embrace that perfection in our physical bodies, in our finances, in our relationships, and in everything that we do. We are joyful beings of light and love. That is our true nature. And whatever we need to learn tonight, we learn, and we learn it easily, and we get it, and we use it in our lives. This is the best class ever, because it is the class of spirit, given by spirit to spirit, because it's all spirit. So with wonderful celebration, gratitude, and thanksgiving, we let this go into all that God is. All that spirit is, because spirit is all, as together we say, and so it is. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Come on in, Roxanne and Elise. Is there anybody in the room who has not been in this class before? Wonderful. I just want to point out, Gina, will you wave your book? Gina got this on Amazon for $5. And I'm delighted that someone else is publishing the original Science of Mind, which is in public domain. You guys can publish it if you wanted. All you had to do is market it, and evidently you can get it on Amazon. John used to have his book on Amazon before divorce picked it up. So if you want the original Science of Mind textbook, you can get it on Amazon. The page numbers will be different. That's the only thing. But we're doing it introduction, one reading, lesson, one reading, recapitulation, one reading. So you really don't have to have the page numbers because we're doing it more in units rather than in pages. Does everyone have or have access to your reading list? Anybody not have any idea that there's a reading list for this class? Good, because I want to change it. Yes, your reading assignments. Your reading assignment says no class November 9th. That is not true. There's not going to be a class on November 2nd. And the reason is that Friday, November 13th, will be our annual celebration and commitment dinner, which is a very big deal. And the week that we are off, we usually don't come home until Saturday, which means we would miss it. Bad idea. So we're moving our time off to the 2nd, and we will have class on the 9th And just those of you who want to mark your calendar, Friday the 13th, yes, Friday the 13th, we're having our annual celebration and commitment dinner. It is much hoopla. We transformed the sanctuary into this beautiful banquet hall. We've got linens and tables and china and glasses. We usually hire a couple of like a chef and a sous chef and some servers, and everybody just gets all loved up as we say thank you for your financial support in 2015, and then we give you an opportunity, we don't make a secret of it, we give you an opportunity to commit to a certain level of financial support in 2016, which then, because John is a really good businessman, lets us do a budget for 2016. So we have a wonderful dinner. We used to have dancing and then everybody just stopped dancing, so we stopped dancing. We just get all prettied up and smell good and hang out with people and eat really good food and play, and it's a wonderful evening, and everyone is invited. All of our members will get an invitation in the mail this week, and those who are not members will have invitations piled up on the Welcome Center, which you are welcome to take and fill out the RSVP form for. And it is really our gala evening. So when we realized we were going to be gone that week, we decided we better switch our schedule and change our travel plans. Everybody's got it? We do have class on the 9th. No class on the 7th, but I'll remind you about this a little bit closer. Second. I'll remind you about it a little bit closer to the date. Also, last call, our membership in spiritual community class is this Saturday, October 10th, 10:10, at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's a great class, whether you decide to be a member of this center or not. It's a lot of process work, it's a lot of self-exploration, it's games, and we have a hard time fitting all of the material into just 3 hours. So don't think, oh God, I'm going to have to sit there and listen to them talk for 3 hours. It's not like that. It's getting up and playing games, it's doing processes, and it's all about how to get along with other people. Membership in spiritual community. What we have found over many decades is that the biggest problem spiritual communities face is getting along with each other. And that always comes from inside of ourselves. So if you have anything going on with anybody in your life that you may need a little help on how to deal with it, this would be a good class for you to come to. People who are currently members can come back and take it again. People who are taking the class and then decide at the last minute, these things happen. No, I don't want to be a member. That's okay. You had a great class. We had a wonderful experience. And then the very next day, Sunday the 11th at 11 o'clock, that'd be 10, 11, 11, we do a beautiful ceremony where we bring the newest members into our fellowship of members, and it's really great, and it's a wonderful experience. Has anyone not filled out a membership application that wants to be a member of this center? Great stuff. Okay, you got it, Michaela. The only difference with you is you don't get a vote at the annual membership meeting until you're 18. You guys filled this out, didn't you? Yeah, you filled it out. No. No. Yes. Anybody else? Yeah, she's got it. Okay. I think being a member of this center is really great. And I think that this being a microcosm of the world as a macrocosm, that we can really use what we are learning to create, I want to say heaven on earth, but maybe that's a stretch, to create really a functional society. A society that functions, that sees the best in other people, that takes a breath before they react, that has the what if this isn't what's happening, what if something else is happening here? Just take a breath, think a thought, think another thought, think another thought, keep getting a new thought till you get one you like, and then act on that. So it is my highest desire that under these roofs, we can be the best of us. And I know you go out and you're not quite like this out in the world. I've seen you at Ingalls. But at least when we walk in here, we can bring our best self forward. And that's not about suppressing and painting on a smile when we feel terrible or trying to pretend that we're somebody that we're not. It's about really being clear about who we are and being able to stand firmly and solidly on that so that we're not defensive, so that we're not reactive, so that we're not aggressive, so that we can really join together for a greater good. And I think we're doing pretty good. We're on our 21st year. We'll have our 21st anniversary in January. And I think we've done well and we're doing well. From my point of view, thousands of people have had their lives get better and better from being a part of this center, whether they're still a part of the center or whether they're not a part anymore. The fact that their paths crossed ours impacted them, and so it's impacted the world. So if you change your mind and want to fill out an application later on in the week, just give a call. But other than that, I'll see those of you who are coming Saturday at 10 in the morning. Okay. So, you had a lot of reading this week. Now I want you to know if you didn't understand it, it's okay. If you didn't do it, it's okay. How could it not be okay? Everything's God. But if you didn't do it, you might be a little confused as we move forward tonight. So rather than stay confused, raise your hand. And just because you raise your hand doesn't mean you didn't do it. But I want to make sure everybody comes together. I had one person say, "Oh, I'm not taking your class because I want to do the reading." I said, "Gosh, you're always welcome to come. Everybody's always welcome to come. And the purpose of being in class is to learn. So if you don't learn it at home, it's okay. You can learn it together here." Deep breath. Is everybody okay? Good. Because I know, class anxiety is high for some people. Whenever we have tests, which we do in practitioner class, people freak out. Even though I've told them over and over and over again, this is going to be a group test, it's an open book test, it's an open dialogue test. We're going to all answer the question at once. We're going to read it out loud, we're going to talk about it, and come up with an answer, and then we're all going to write it down, and we're all going to get an A+. Still, okay, next week is the test. So I don't want you to freak out because I looked at this reading and it really was quite a lot. So what we have, any other questions before we jump in? I want you to know I love this stuff. People think I'm crazy. I love this stuff because it answers so many questions. I mean, who would have thought you could answer the questions of what are we doing here and what's life all about with a circle and 2 lines? Who would have thought that until you get into science of mind and start looking at some of these really big words. But in the book, we're going to go to page 55, doesn't have a page number on it. And this is metaphysical chart number 1 because it's talking about the big picture. You're going to have other metaphysical charts that are going to talk about us personally and how our life works. This is talking about the really big picture. So we have words like spirit. What does that mean? I throw it around so often. What does that mean? Our true self. That would be that bigger part of us. What else? What does spirit mean? First cause. Thank you, Michaela.
It means the inner self.
The inner self is kind of like our true self. Great, that bigger part of us. Again, this is a circle on the absolute, on the really big level, instead of on the relative, on the individual level. So what else? What does spirit mean? What is your name?
Paula.
Paula, what does spirit mean?
All that is.
Pardon me?
All that is.
All that is. First cause. Who else has something to throw out here?
Eternal self.
Let's just use, yeah, we can use eternal self. All that is. No, those are more attributes. Those are descriptions. Better check and see if he already has that in here though before. Yeah, he's got peace, poise, yeah. So yes, yes. So what he's got in the book is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Remember that? We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And omniscient means what? All-knowing. Omnipotent means what? All-powerful. And omnipresent means what? So we'll just do the omnis. Means all, everything. And remember, this idea of spirit is one aspect of whatever it is that's going on. You can use the word God. I know God freaks some people out. And it's such a limited word, God. Like, what is God? What is that anyway? For me, I still am tempted to flip over to a guy on a cloud, you know, who's just pissed off at me in particular. Talk about projecting the smallness of us. You know, we're supposed to be made in the image and likeness of God, and instead we've made God in the image and likeness of the worst of us, and then given it all power. So let's not go there, but what we have is something that is energetic, it's vibrational, it's light, it's love, it's peace and joy and poise. It is more than everything that would be in physical form. So we have to kind of jump out of our, well, I'll believe it when I see it kind of mindset and step out into the world that says this, all of this, if you don't want to go to it's not real, it's but a reflection of that which is real. So that which is real is unseen. So it is the great unseen. It is more than time and space. Where does time and space go in this circle? Bottom, which we go ahead and put body in. So this would be, it's actually a space-time continuum. This would be the body of everything, the universe body, the body of our affairs. It would be us. It would be all of time and space, all people, all places. Think about this. All time. The past and the future. Remember when I talked about how it puzzles quantum physicists that we can so easily change the future, but we haven't figured out yet how to change the past. So when we're looking at time, we go, oh, well, the past is set. The future is open for any possibilities. And quantum physics says the past is also open for all possibilities. And we play with that with recreate your childhood, tell a different story about what happened, you know, make it into something different than you think it is because you made it into what you think it is to begin with. So you might as well make it into something that works better for you. But quantum physics is taking it even farther and saying, no, we can change the past to where it didn't happen. Genocides, wars, holocausts, didn't happen. Can you imagine when humanity evolves to a point where our consciousness is so clear that we can change all of the stuff that brought us to where we are? And people say, oh, if you don't have the stuff that brought us to where you are, you don't have where you are. No. If you move into pure love, all there is love. And there is no room for anything unlike that. And that changes the past into pure love. Have you ever forgiven an ex?
Yes.
What happened?
Freedom.
You experienced freedom. Yes, what, Terry? Peace in your life. Who said something over here? Judith.
Freeing from anger.
You get free from anger. Did it ever change the story? Well, maybe he wasn't or she wasn't such a dirty, rotten rat and fratchet anyway. Maybe that was a pretty decent person. Change the past. Can you imagine if we do it collectively? And since there is no time, then it would be every being that ever lived. How many billions of individualized consciousnesses would that be? To come together in clarity and love. And what would that do? What would that do? That is the path you are on. You are the light bearers, bringing an awakened awareness to all of humanity. Sherry.
Well, I often think of Neville Goddard, and he speaks to the pruning shears of revision. And I Googled it. I know I have it in a book somewhere at home, but I Googled it not too long ago, and the whole chapter is online about how to intentionally go back and change that.
Right?
So it's.
Why do we want to carry around a bummer of a past? It's like a ball and chain around our foot. And then we're complaining we can't fly. Well, of course not. We put a ball and chain around our foot.
But I've also experienced where I want to work with someone and say, hey, you had fun, why don't we just change the story about the past? And the individual said, it's happened, I'm gonna want to change it, it's a part of me.
Right.
And so there's that choice. So we can choose.
The banner of victimization is
Mhm.
strong in identity, and it's supported by our society. Oh, poor baby, this didn't happen to you. You need 25 years of therapy, and all of, forgive me, all of you therapists in the room, I'm sure you don't do that. Jane?
Well, I think changing the past brings relief.
Yes, it does, it brings relief, because it allows us to let go of that which is limiting and move into that which is great. So I love playing with time and space. You know, you can bend time. If you're late going somewhere, it was easier before we had clocks in our cars. But you can bend time, you can, and you do it all the time. Think about last time you were bored, not in this class. Think about the last time you were bored. And time just dragged on. And then think about the last time you were having a really exciting time. You were at the movies, or you were at the fair, or you were with great people, and all of a sudden it was over and you were going, where did the time go? That's bending time, because time expands and contracts to come into alignment with us, because it's down in body. And everything down in the bottom of the circle changes. It changes. It is acted upon by what? Thought. Thought. I know I was pointing to my brain. My brain is the tool for thought, but you got it. It's acted upon by thought, because thought changes form. And some would say, oh, well, even thought is an effect. Something happened before the thought. That's true, but I don't know what it is, so I can't teach you that. When we think a thought, it affects physical form. So you can play with time, and I encourage you to do that. If you feel like, oh my God, I'm late, no. For that matter, stop. Take a deep breath, relax. And then know that you are where you are meant to be, exactly when you're meant to be there. Know that you are on time. That's why I encourage people to come to class on time. I encourage us to start on time. You notice I'm not a teacher that drags the class out 15 minutes after it's over. We end on time, because I am teaching you to master time, to develop an on-time consciousness, so that you get what you want on time. You don't have a late life. Don't have a late life. You're not a late person. Spirit isn't late by means of you. If you're experiencing lateness, take a deep breath, slow down, don't speed up, because all you're doing is feeding fear. Slow down, get clear, set your intention, and then move forward. Only move forward knowing that time doesn't affect you. I have gone across town in big towns in under 30 seconds, bending time. Does anybody play with bending time? Cool. Cool. Isn't it fun?
It's relative.
It's relative. It is. Time is relative. Everything in the bottom of the circle is relative. So play with bending time, and then you won't feel like you're bound by it. Anything that makes you feel bound, whether it's your physical body, your money, your job, time, a person. That's all ruling you, and you do not get ruled. You are the ruler of your life. You are not ruled by other things. How many people are in Kate's Troward class? Good. My favorite Troward quote, take a deep breath. When you allow your purpose to be contingent upon any person, place, or thing, you have descended to the level of secondary causation, and that is the level of doubt, fear, and limitation. You are cause to your life. You are primary causation. Nobody's the boss of you. Nobody rules you. No thing rules you. You create your life. You are the cause to your experience. And when you think your good is dependent on somebody else, something else, somewhere else, then you are then at effect of the cause that you created to be boss of you. Troward is saying you'll see it right away. You'll have doubt. Oh my God, what am I doing? I don't know if I'm doing. Oh gee, fear. Oh no, everything's going to fall apart. And limitation. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I can't do this. When you're there, you have created secondary causation. And so the important thing to do with that is to realize that all of these experiences in your life are your creation. You are the captain of your ship. Nobody is the boss of you. Sorry, Sherry. Barbara says, nobody's the boss of me. And that's the truth.
That's Sharon.
Yes, that's Sharon. So here we have in the book, he's going to say something that has driven me crazy for 30 some odd years. He's going to say soul, but I've changed it to what makes much more sense to me is law. Law. Keep in mind he wrote this, or published it, his mother published it for him in 1920, I think she published it in 25, this was officially published in 26. So he wrote this in the 20s. And what he was trying to do was trying to get in touch with that part of us, that invisible part of us. And he had, he's got a lot of Christian background, so he wants to do the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, that kind of thing, the soul, and have it all work out. I find law just so much more clear. So there is spirit and whatever that means. It is invisible. It is a generating energy, but it never ends. It's always beginning, but never ending. Now we're into like the one hand clapping and the tree in the forest. There is a principle of creation that is always creating because that's its nature. There is a principle that is always beginning, but how come it can never end?
Because it's an infinite number.
Because it's infinite. What would happen if the infinite had an end?
It would be infinite.
It wouldn't be infinite. It would be after the infinite. That'd be a funny story, after the infinite. So you've got something that's always beginning but never ending and is on a constant form of creation because that's its nature and it has to be true to its nature. So we have this idea of the creative substance of life moving through whatever this is. And we have a lot of words for this, but frankly, nobody knows. Nobody knows why the molecules in your table are hanging together. They know that there's an electromagnetic pole and that there's a little gravity in there, and that if they didn't hang together, everything would have blown up long ago. But they don't really know how it is that form comes into being, other than one of the very cool things that I learned in my astronomy class in UNCA was that when the very base, do you want to hear this?
Yeah.
Good, I want your buy-in because I'm going off on a tangent. A basic beam of light is called a photon. And when two photons crash into each other, they spit out a little piece of matter called a neutrino. And a neutrino is the building block of matter. So when light or energy hits energy or light at high speeds, it spits out matter. Isn't that cool? I mean, they're actually showing how energy turns into matter. And then you've got the particle wave, particle wave, particle wave, particle wave of all of our realities flashing in and out. So just pick which time right before it flashes in and make it different. Well, I can't change this. Sure you can. It's not even here half the time. It's not solid. Your problems are not only not real, they're not solid. They're not solid. Even the illusion of them is not solid. So we have words in the middle like what? Give me some.
Creative medium.
Creative medium. Love that. What else?
Unformed substance.
Unformed substance. I like that one too because it's unformed. What else?
Passive and receptive.
Ooh, it's passive and receptive. Now, this isn't like passive aggressive. This isn't passive like in transactional analysis where you're dumb door doormat. It just means that it cannot have any resistance. It cannot tell you that this is a good idea or a bad idea, which is, in my opinion, a positive, but some people find that distressing because they want some kind of something that will save them. They want something that will intervene in their life and save them from themselves. This cannot. It can only take what you give it and bring it into form, so it's passive. It's receptive. It's impersonal. That's another thing that people sometimes don't like. Why would someone not like the fact that law is impersonal?
If it was personal, it would put its own personality onto whatever came into it.
Right, but why would they not like that?
Because
Susan?
I think because it would be I would have a feeling of no control.
Okay, feeling of no control, Valerie?
A feeling of disconnection.
Because they feel disconnected, they want the love. They want to feel the love, but just because the law is impersonal doesn't mean that spirit is impersonal. And spirit, remember, is not separate from the law. The law is the way spirit works. So some people go, oh, you're so cold. No, we just don't have something that's going to intervene regardless of what we've done, and something that we can lean on to try to get that warm fuzzy from. But anyone who has spent any time in spiritual practice and meditation and opening up, do you not feel the love? Because love is all that there is. So when you open up to that which is beyond this physical realm, you feel love. Sometimes you see things, but you feel love. So some people don't like that it's impersonal because they want that warm fuzzy thing. And some people don't like that it's passive because they found in their own lives that being passive has led them be hurt. But we don't want to take our own judgments and project it onto all that is. We want to stop making God in our image and likeness and start making us in the image and likeness of the divine. Does that make sense? So it's passive, it's receptive, it's impersonal. And what that means is that even if you have screwed up all of your life and you change the way you think and change the way you look at the world, it can't say, oh no, you're a dirty, rotten sinner, you don't get to have a good life. It can't do that. It doesn't matter what has happened in the past. You start fresh and new literally every moment of every day. And so you start with a clean slate. What do you want to create in this moment? How do you want it to be? Think the thought, set the intention, set the law in motion, and there is nothing that can stop you. Nothing can stop you. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing, what the economy's doing, what your job is doing, it doesn't matter. Nothing can stop you because the law is passive. It's not going to resist you. You want to be a millionaire? Go for it. It is receptive, meaning it takes everything. It doesn't resist. And it is impersonal. Whatever you tell it, it goes, okay, whatever you want. I am here to serve you. If you want to marry that person that you've married 10 times before with a different face and a different name, go for it. Or if you want to forgive and release the past and open up yourself to having an amazing relationship, go for it. All it can say is yes. What is that? There was a
Yes,
line,
Your wish is my command.
your wish is my command. The Aladdin, your wish is my command. So rather than go into, well, I want a more personal experience with spirit, great. Have a personal experience with spirit. I love my CSO. Boy, that has really given me a way to wrap my head around having something that is me, greater than me, and yet not outside of me, but I don't have to do it all by myself. Every morning I write a letter to my CSO, my Chief Spiritual Officer, came from the Prosperity class, which is available online. I was really delighted with our website release yesterday. How many people were here yesterday? Wasn't that fantastic? It has taken those people 6 months of work to create that. So I'm playing to the camera. So I love this idea that it's all about me, but there's something greater. One of my favorite quotes, and John told me he told it to the prosperity class on the night of the firewalk, and I'm all, you got that from me. One of my favorite quotes in the textbook is, bring your burdens to the altar of, place your burdens on the altar of love to be consumed by the fires of faith in the living God. If you have a burden, give it over. But you're not giving it over to someone outside of yourself. You're not giving it over and begging or bartering or trying to negotiate something. You're not buying your way out. You're simply turning it over to what? To love. Give it over to love. Give yourself to love. And watch how it vanishes. And then you get to experience that greater level of love and greater level of faith. So just because law is impersonal doesn't mean that your experience with spirit is impersonal. But this is where you get to hold on. It's like 95% of people with this cancer die. Chances are you're going to be dead in 3 months. Well, the law doesn't know anything about 95%. So we're going to know that you're in absolute perfect, vibrant health. And here we are, not me, here we are 10 years later, completely in remission, completely healthy. Why? Because the law doesn't know about statistics. It doesn't know about history. It doesn't know about what your friends think. All it knows is what you put into it and what you give it. That's why it gets to be so important for you to be careful about what you're giving it, what you're thinking, what you're setting in motion. There are no vacations from this. There's no vacations. You don't get a break. You say, give me a break, you're liable to get one. I've seen that written on casts. All I said was, give me a break. You don't get a break. What you get to do is you get to set the law in motion over and over and over and over and over again, and I'll give it to you. It's a lot of work. It's not bad work. It's not like, going to kill your work. It's actually going to give you life work. But it is a big job for you to be mindful of what you set in motion, because there is nothing that's going to stop you from screwing up your life. And how do you screw up your life? You stay angry with somebody. You hold on to that position of victimness. I actually got a letter from someone at this center resigning their membership. 2 pages, typed letter today. Resigning their membership because they're mad that John's turning his job, quote unquote, loss into a good thing. Yes. Yes. Pardon me? Really? You can stay a victim in your life if you want, but I guarantee you this group is moving on. This group is moving on to turn lemons into lemonade to have a what-if consciousness, to open up, to allow all kinds of great things happen, paying off mortgages, debt-free, physical healings, all kinds of stuff. And it's difficult to hold on to feeling like I'm a victim and my life is terrible and nobody at that center understands me while we are moving on. You may have noticed that with some of your friends, that they want you to stay all mad. I joke, they would say, well, when are you coming back to the crack house? I'm not coming back to the crack house. I moved on. You know. When are you coming back to Gossipville? When are you coming back to rumor mongering? When are you coming back to being angry? When are you coming back to your drinking buddies? When are you coming back to being mad kind of thing? You're moving on. Why? Because the law is passive, receptive, and impersonal. And it takes whatever you give it. And frankly, everybody take a deep breath. Is it hot in here?
All of a sudden.
I don't think the air's on.
Take a deep breath.
What was I saying?
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Passive, receptive,
You said take a deep breath.
I know. I was going to say something really profound.
Take a deep breath, Barbara. Yeah.
We're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. It obviously wasn't that important.
You can change that later, right, Barbara? That pass right there, that piece.
No, I don't edit anything.
No,
You
no,
can-
I mean, you can, right, in your consciousness. Go ahead, change
Change
the
the
pass.
pass.
Yes, I can, and when I do, I'll let you know. So here we are, moving forward in our consciousness, setting law in motion all day, every day. That's one reason why it's important. If you think a thought and you don't want to live it out, what do?
Change it.
Change your thought. You have a wonderful opportunity of infinite time, so you can think another thought. Sometimes people get really pressured in this teaching and they go, oh my God, I'm creating my reality, it's just all too much. And I was watching a football game and I got really caught up in it and I started yelling at the referees and now I'm going to have to live that out. No, you aren't. Take a deep breath. Pull that, not Etch-a-Sketch. What was it when you pulled the little plastic thing off? Was that Etch-a-Sketch?
Yeah.
Pull that Etch-a-Sketch was the shaking thing. So erase that blackboard. Start all over again. You have the opportunity to think a new thought. To think a second thought. Wow, you don't like that? Do it all over again. Sometimes John and I do that. Sometimes he will actually leave the house and come back in again so we can start all over. Because we didn't do it well before. We can just start all over again. We have opportunities to do things over and over and over again if that's what we want. Or you can say, no, I'm stuck in the mess that I've made and now the pressure's all on me. No. For that matter, the part of us that thinks the pressure's on us is so small, they say that we're only using 3% of our conscious awareness. I would say we're using less than that. And besides, we're not limited to conscious awareness. We have our entire subjective awareness to work with. The part of us that is responsible for creating our reality is the part of us that directs this amazing power of life. And then that power takes it, that law takes it, unformed substance, creative medium, takes it and brings it into form. All we have to do is decide what we're going to give it. What we're going to give it. All we have to do is think about what we want. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is just to be happy. Plant happy seeds in creative medium, in unformed substance. Plant happy seeds. Plant seeds that have you being happy and having plenty of money and being healthy and laughing and being in your joy, and then just let it show up the way it wants to show up. This does not have to be a high-pressure teaching. And for that matter, when you take the pressure on yourself, you are limiting the opportunity for all of the universe to bring this into form. That's why I always say every Sunday, God has ways of giving you money you've never even dreamed of yet. There are things at work in the universe, right in here, already at work on your behalf. Past, present, future, here, there, already at work on your behalf. And you don't need to know about them. You don't need to plan it. You don't need to make it work. All you need to do is decide what you're going to put in the middle of the circle. And then get that there is something amazing that is going to take that and bring it into form. I think this idea of spiritual law is the best thing we've got going. Also, the idea of oneness is pretty good too. But this idea that it doesn't matter if it's never been done before, it doesn't matter if people are saying it's impossible, it doesn't matter if you have your own doubts, you can put it into the law. And as long as you've directed that, as long as you've picked the seeds that you want to plant and put them in there, you're going to have a harvest, you're going to have growth, you're going to have things show up in your lives, and it's your job to be aware of what you're doing, but it's not your job to hold the universe together. People, they like to challenge me and they say usually two things. Okay, if this is real, stop the sunrise tomorrow. No, I'm not going to stop the sunrise tomorrow. Come on, you're just doing that so you can leave. If you want to leave, go. If you want an excuse to have your life stay the same, then I give it to you. Go. Go now. Go, 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 go. Or the other one is, then give me an affirmation and I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket and I'm going to win the lottery. No. Because what people don't get is that this is a lot of work because we have to change ourselves to get what we want. There are those people who look at this center as simply a grab bag for miracles. That they want to stay around the periphery, and then when there's crisis, they want to be able to reach in and pull out a miracle, like a rabbit out of a hat, without having to change themselves. And so that works occasionally, but it comes to the point where you can pull out a miracle, and then if you haven't changed yourself, you're going to recreate your problem. And recreate your problem, and recreate your problem, and then you start resisting the demonstrations or the practitioner treatments or whatever because you're digging your heels in. And this is not pull out a miracle. This is change your energy, change your thought, change your intention, set spiritual law in motion over and over and over and over and over again, and watch how the form of your life shifts. So if you need a miracle, great, pull out a miracle. But then get very busy changing what created you needing a miracle so you don't have to go back and change and pull out another one, because there comes a point in time when we have to live with ourselves. No matter how many practitioners we have, no matter what a great center we have to live with ourselves because we are what is showing up. It's like trying to do a geographical change. The problem is we take us with us, and then we recreate our lives all over again. It's like trying to divorce our problems away. That doesn't work. Then we just recreate them. That's why so many people who have won the lottery don't have any money right now. Well, some people are worse off than they ever were before they won the lottery because they didn't change inside of themselves. But the good news is that there is nothing outside of you that will keep you from having what you want if you are willing to do the work inside. I love that. Because I was one sick puppy when I walked into this teaching. I was 24 years old. I would vacillate between drugs and alcohol. I would go on drugs to try to give my liver a rest from all the alcohol I was drinking. The logic of an addict. Had a 3-year-old. I was on welfare, had no place to live, no job, no money, giving plasma twice a week. You know, living on food stamps. When I first started tithing at my first Science of Mind Center, I tithed food stamps. That's all I had. So, there was nothing outside of me that said, you are a bad girl. There is no way you're gonna have a great life. You are doomed to misery and failure. There was nothing outside of me that could say that. Every time I cleaned up my thoughts, every time I set my intention, every time I planted a seed in this passive, receptive, impersonal law, it took it and it grew it. Just took it and grew it. So inside of 3 months, I had a job, I had an apartment, I had a car, I had a life going on. 3 months is all it took. And inside of 5 years, I was making 6 figures, I was driving a Cadillac, I was married to my second husband. I had not quite worked out relationships by then, but I had worked the outside manifestations. I was the associate minister at the Miami Church of Religious Science. I was hot stuff. In 5 years I did that. There was nothing that could stop me if I wasn't going to stop myself. But it takes vigilance. It takes vigilance, not that, oh my God, I'm going to have a terrible thought and then I'm going to be screwed, I'm going to be doomed to living this out. No, I had a thought that was not the best of me. So you know, I'm going to take a deep breath because I don't want to get into the fight or flight. I don't want to get all reactive. I'm going to take a deep breath, I'm going to pause. And I'm going to think about, now, do I really want to live in an angry world filled with dirty, rotten rack and fratchets? No, I don't think I want to. So I'm going to choose to let that story go, because Barbara says it doesn't really happen unless I say it happens. It only means what you make it mean. And I'm going to create a new reality that says I am loved and supported by the universe and by all of life, and everyone in my experience loves me and supports me. Doesn't matter if you think a thought that you don't want to live. Just stop thinking it. Just stop planting those seeds. It'd be as if the farmer mixed up their seeds in their seeder and started planting thistles instead of wheat. Just stop it. And then clean it all up and plant something new. The soil's going to grow whatever you give it. Law's going to manifest whatever we give it. And I think it's fascinating that time and space are so malleable. So incredibly malleable. It's like people. If you criticize someone, they will turn into an awful person around you. Not necessarily around anybody else. So, what's in the bottom? Time and space. Form. Form. Yay, form. I like form. What else? Effect. Results.
Illusion of matter.
Where does cause go in this? If effect is on the bottom? Top. Cause. So, everything in the bottom is an effect. Everything in the bottom is an effect. Your physical body is what? An effect. What the doctor says you do or do not have is what? An effect. The amount of money you've got in the bank is what? An effect. Your car is what? Yes, it's all an effect. And where does the effect come from? Cause. What's the cause? Your thought. Your thought. Your intentions. Your beliefs about how life is. I've talked to so many people who says, all men are this way. All women are this way. All politicians are this way. No. That's a belief. And if you believe that, that's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to bring into your experience. It always concerns me when someone gets that look in their eye and they go, my soulmate. Because it could very easily be a masochist finally finding their sadist. It could be very easily one neuroses hooking into another neuroses and getting off on the rush of it all. So what we want to make sure we do is create something that is healthy, create a healthy life, create a life of joy and prosperity and health and wholeness. And if we don't have that in our lives, it's because we didn't put it up here. You cannot have poverty down here and prosperity up there. If you've got it, you planted it. If you've got it, you created it. If you've got it, you did it. And the reason that that's so great, even though at the time it doesn't feel that great, is that you then can do it differently. And it doesn't have to be a big pressure. It doesn't have to be this big deal. Okay, now I have to create my life. Just think a second thought. What do I want? Do I really want to do this? You know, it doesn't feel good after 3 seconds, so my God, how is it going to feel after 3 years? I don't want to do this. What do I want? Well, I want to feel good. I want to be happy. I want to trust in life. I want to be open. I want to be able to live my life richly and fully. Well, go ahead. Start talking it up. Start making it real. Start putting energy into it. Plant those seeds in the fertile soil of mind, and nothing in the entire universe can stop you. It doesn't matter if you have people all around you chanting. That's impossible. It'll never happen. It doesn't matter. The universe takes it, the law takes it, and says, as it, what is the phrase? Your wish is my command. Your wish is my command. Whatever it is you give me, I will grow it up, and I will make it so. And I will bring it forth. So it is completely up to us. So don't get lost in the, oh gee, science of mind is so heavy, there's no heart to it. That's absurd. It's all heart. There's only love. But there is a way that this thing works that can help you work it. And we draw it out like a circle with some lines in it just so we can wrap our heads around it. But there is something up here in energy with no form that ends up down here in form. There is something up there. And when we are clear as to what we plant in that fertile soil of mind, we are much clearer about what we get. And it can be, it can be manifesting tangible form. Somebody called me today and said, I've lost a piece of clothing that belongs to someone else, and I must find it now. So I went into treatment. I know there's nothing lost in divine mind, including this jacket. I know that it's here. I claim it, I call it forth, I accept it, I give thanks for it, and so it is. And sure enough, it pops up. It can be something tangible, or it can be something more energetic. It can be that we choose to live in more love. We choose to live as a more trusting person. We trust. We are open. We are happy. Why do you think we are chanting, today is a happy day? First of all, it works. But it works. Excuse me. It works because we are setting law in motion. There are some people equally who chant, today is an awful day. This is just an awful day. I know people who say they used to get up in the morning with me tattooed on their head. And they felt that way, and so that's what they created in every experience and with every person. That's what they created. But you can just as easily tattoo, bless me. Everybody is for my good. Everything happens for my good. The entire universe supports me. I am lifted up. I am joy-filled. I have the Midas touch. I have the golden touch. All doors are open. The carpet is rolled out, and I walk forward in ease and grace. It's your choice. So if you find yourself thinking thoughts that you don't want to live, remember the breath is really important because the breath stops the reactive mind. It's a whole biochemical thing. This is therapy in a nutshell. Take a breath. It changes everything. Take a breath, think a thought, choose, and then think the thought that you want to live. No matter how far-fetched or ridiculous it seems. That's why the what if thing is so great, because it actually stops your brain from going off on an endless firing of ain't it awful, or the worst that can happen, and that spiral down. what if? Take a breath, just stop, plant a new thought, and then all that law can do is take it and bring it into form. Let's take a break. Looking at the intricacies of the teaching symbol. The teaching symbol on the level of the absolute.
Yes.
So, we have this idea that says, that the idea up here, the idea in spirit, the original idea, before we get to messing with it, needing another thought. The original idea in spirit is perfect. Do you see that? That when God thinks a thought, when spirit thinks a thought, it's got to be a perfect thought. It can't be a limited thought. It can't be a fear-based thought. It can't be something that is imperfect, because that would be against the nature of spirit, which is perfect. And John will caution us, don't use that word, because people immediately go into, well, perfect for me means that the sky is clear and there is no rain and all is well and life looks exactly like the little box that I want it to fit in. That's not the perfect I'm talking about. Perfect on an absolute level means that it's whole. It has everything because it's infinite. Remember, it can't have something outside of the infinite, can't be missing a piece, can't be broken. It's whole, it's complete. Perfect, whole, and complete. So when we have an idea of a spirit thought, a divine idea in the mind of God. When we started this center, that was our phrase. When we sent out our very first little flyer to see if anybody wanted to come to our living room to talk about starting a spiritual center in Asheville, we said, this is a divine idea in the mind of God whose time has come. A divine idea in the mind of God whose time has come. Do you see how that is the creative process? But when you look at the circle on an absolute level, everything is great. Everything is perfect. Everything is health. Everything is wholeness. Everything is balance. Everything is abundant. Everything is great. Because you cannot limit that absolute experience of the absolute. It must be true to its nature. The absolute cannot have an imperfect idea. Who can have an imperfect idea?
I can.
Yes, you can. And so can we all. And our job, if we find ourselves with an idea that is less than spirit in all of its wonder and glory, our job is to have another idea. And what Ernest says is to reveal the false idea and to move into an embracing of the perfect idea that is God. Okay, so what we want to do, if we have anything that has limitation in it, if we have any sense that anything is wrong, that anything is broken, that anything is lacking, that anything needs to be fixed, and usually it's us, we think that we're broken, we're lacking, we need to be fixed. Is that possible? How can we be created out of a perfect idea of spirit and have anything that is less than perfection? How is that possible? It is not possible. The essence of us, our true nature, is divine. And so if we are seeing ourselves, or if we are seeing our experience as anything less than that perfect idea, that ideal of spirit, then it is our job to move back into an awareness of the perfection of spirit as me, as my life, as my body, as my finances, as my friend, as my friends, as my car, as my job, as my home, as my dog. That's my job to move back into alignment with the spiritual truth that is up here. Because if I can embrace a perfect idea, it will automatically go into the mind of God and it will show up. If I am experiencing something less than perfection in any way, shape, or form, it's because I have misunderstood who I am, what my experiences are, what life is, what God is. Maybe I go back to this idea of a guy on a cloud who doesn't like me. Maybe something like that. What, Jane?
Well, how do you know, if you have an idea, how do you know whether it's a perfect idea?
What have you got in your life? Do you have anything in your life that's limiting? Anything that's fear-based?
Well, sure, everything.
No, not everything. Don't do that. No, not everything.
Okay.
You have a lot of wonderful thoughts. Some of your thoughts are still limited. Welcome to the human race.
But how can I tell which are the limited ones and which are,
What is limited in your life?
you mean look around me and
Yes.
at the outside world?
Yes, yes. And if you have limitation in your bank account, if you have limitation in your physical body, if you have limitation in your emotional state, if you have limitation in your friends, whatever that is, go back into the divine idea of spirit itself, which would be, if you're looking at your friends and going, whoa, what a bunch of dummies. What do you need to do? You can change your friends and you will take yourself with you, and then what will you create? More of the same. So rather than, you can go through that if you want, but eventually, what are you going to want to do? Change your thoughts about what? Your friends. You know, and if you want a little quick psychology lesson, the only reason you would be critical of your friends is if you had first a disowned self inside of yourself, some part of you that thought you were less than wise and intelligent, and so you suppress that, and rather than acknowledge it and work it out and do your forgiveness work and release and all of that, you suppress it, and then because there's only one, it's got to show up somewhere in your life, so naturally, psychologically, you project it onto someone else, and anyone calling anyone else something, you know who it is that they're calling that. So you can never call anyone else something without calling yourself that. And it comes from that idea inside of ourselves. That's why I said that the place where we are usually looking at that which is broken or lacking or imperfect is us. So rather than look at your friends that way, you put your I see the world through God eyes hat on and start looking at them as these beautiful God beings, perfect in every way. And watch how then they change into new friends, or they change into these new beings that you're experiencing. What do you do if you are acting out limitation in your physical body?
Same thing.
Which would be what?
Well, you just take a look at what you think is wrong, and you know that it's right.
Excellent. So if you're acting out something with your physical body, then you look at that, and instead of holding on to an imperfect idea, you move into this idea that says the entire universe is based on a concept of health and wholeness and growth and expansion, of balance and harmony. And so that has to be true for my physical body. It has to be true for me because I am created out of the unformed substance that has formed everything. There is an inherent health and wholeness in all life and beyond. I don't know about beyond because once I get past this universe, I'm done. But here and beyond, there's a health and a wholeness, and if we're not seeing it and our bodies are reacting to our lack of sight, it's not our body's fault. We didn't get a bad body. We took a perfectly good body and we thought thoughts that said you're not good enough, and it said, okay, I'm not good enough, oh, no. So what we do is we embrace that divine idea, that perfect idea, and it goes into the fertile soil of mind and shows up. There's even a book called Mind Over Medicine that's written by a doctor that is fascinating. That is all of these studies, a number of which have been done by University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, about just plain old happiness heals. You don't even have to have a particular thought. But what is this divine, perfect idea other than happy, other than joy-filled. And what they're finding out in the physical body, and I think it's a little kickoff on Bruce Lipton, that either a cell is growing or it's defending itself. It's only got two choices. That every cell in your body at any given second is either taking in nourishment, repairing itself. That's why you eat protein, is so that it can rebuild the protein molecules. You do not need complete proteins. You only need a little piece of protein here and a piece of protein there. So it's rebuilding proteins, it's rebuilding the cell, it's growing, it's expanding, it's separating, it's doing all of its little cell things, or it's on lockdown and it's protecting itself. And if you keep your cells on lockdown long enough, that will manifest as disease. That energy comes into form through your physical body as disease. And if you just lighten up a little bit, come to the Center for Spiritualism for the Sunday Celebration, and let it all go, and just lighten up, and imagine the possibility that everything could be okay. Your body has spent all this time repairing itself and growing and fixing whatever needed fixing inside of it because you came into alignment with the divine idea. Isn't that amazing? And all you did was have a good time. But if you stress out all day, every day, sooner or later, those cells are going to give up. And people get sick. And so medicine, allopathic medical doctors are starting to get this. It's fascinating. Just fascinating. So what we want to do is come into alignment with the perfect idea. You can do it with music. You can do it with reading. You can do it by coming here. You can do it by going to the movies. You can do it by getting a sense that who you are is perfect, whole, and complete, that you are a spiritual being because you are made out of spirit. You are a divine idea in the mind of God whose time has come. That is you. And your job is to bring yourself into alignment with that God vision to see yourself as God sees you. How can God see anything that is against its nature? But we have free will. We can screw up all we want. How could, and people say, well, why do we have free will? Wouldn't it just be better to be these eternal joy-filled beings? Then you would not have expansion. And remember, in order for an infinite to exist, it must be continually expanding. You cannot say you must live your life happy. As attractive as that seems, it would stop the evolution that spirit is, the growth and the expansion. And spirit has to be growing and expanding, or there would be an end to the infiniteness. And we can't have that, or none of this is here. So, yes, we have free will. Yes, we are beings of choice, and our choice, now that we are aware beings, is to bring ourselves back into alignment with that perfect idea that we are. What do we do when we experience limitation in our finances? Forgive is a good idea, whoever said that, yes. And what else do we focus on? We stop focusing on limitation and victimization, and we begin to focus on what? Abundance. That's one reason I love to go to the ocean. It is so big. It is so big. It is so big. It reminds me of big. The sunrises remind me of big. So I go there and I get big. That part of me that's bigger than I can grasp. That bigness that I am. I get that. And what that translates into is opportunity, time, money, experiences. I experience prosperity in my life. And if I am not experiencing prosperity, I'm looking at constriction. I'm looking at smallness. Smallness being, that person did me wrong, this will never happen, all of those limited, imperfect ideas. I have to let go of them and move back into that divine, perfect idea. Does that make sense? It's really important because no matter what you choose, law cannot stop you from either achieving your dreams or screwing up your life. It can't stop you. It says, your wish is my command. Whatever it is you want, you will have. And any time you want to change it, you can change it. You don't have to read a book, go to a workshop, pay somebody something, go buy something. You can change it just like that. How? By thinking another thought, by changing your thought. Quan?
Can you do neither, screw up your life or make it better?
If you are in a state of nirvana, I think you could stay there. But even that's got to be great.
Yeah.
It's got to be great. And what are you doing? You're simply focusing on the presence of the divine. And I think that if I were to talk to those monks, they would say, it's just better and better and better. And it's just joy and laughter. What I love about the monks is they're always laughing. They're always just in their joy. It's wonderful. That's what we're supposed to be doing when we let go of everything else and move back into alignment with that perfect idea that we are. It's all joy. And that's why if you just go straight to joy, your body will heal, your money will show up, your relationships will get much better very quickly, and things will just work out. And if they don't work out the way you thought they would, it doesn't matter. You're happy and they're going to work out anyway. Just be in your joy. Come back into alignment. See yourself as God sees you. And how can God see you as anything other than itself? Whatever God is, whatever the will of God is, it must be in alignment with its own nature. Has anybody ever heard of the will of God? Well, we translated in Science of Mind to, well, it just must not be time yet. I must need to do some more work. I guess I'm going to have to clean some more stuff up. No, everything is already here right now. And what can the will of God be other than the nature of God? So, what is the nature of God? What?
Love.
Love. What else?
Happiness.
Joy.
Slow down.
Power. Beauty.
I'm not spelling phonetically. B-E-A-U-T-Y. How about balance, health, wholeness, completeness? What? Wisdom, all of that. So, the only thing that the will of God can be for you is love, happiness, joy, peace, power, prosperity, beauty, wisdom, health, balance, wholeness.
Positive outcomes.
Well, every outcome is positive.
Oh.
It's your judgment that says it's negative. Every outcome is the perfect outcome of what you planted. So let's not put a value call in there of positive.
Oh, okay.
So, if you ever think, well, maybe I'm not supposed to, maybe Spirit, God, whatever, doesn't want me to, maybe there is an outside will that determines my life and that maybe I'm only in control part of the time, no. The only thing that can be the will of God for you has got to be health, happiness, wholeness, joy, beauty, love, all of that. That is the only thing. And since it is the will of God for you, you might as well use it. Well, God's will is that I am happy. Forget all these conditions. God's will is that I am healthy. I don't care what the doctor says. God's will is that I am wealthy, that I am rich, that I am prosperous and abundant. I don't care what my bank statement says. I have God's will on my side, and God is bigger than my bank statement. God is bigger than the diagnosis. God is bigger than what those other people said about me. I have that. The only thing that whatever spirit is can intention within itself is that which it already is. Spirit can only become that which it creates. There's nothing else to create out of. Spirit must become that which it creates, so the nature of the divine must be that which it has created. It can't be anything else. Yes, Valerie?
But is it possible then that the law is our perception of the idea that brings it into the form?
No. Our perception of the idea, and you're going to get into this later, I think it may be the next lesson, is the circle of the relative, which would be our conscious mind. Our thought. And then you've got law, and then you have our experience. And this is the only one that we have free will to limit it. This is unlimited. Because this is the absolute. This is the relative. I think in the book he calls this the universal and this the individual. So it is in this aspect. And it's all one, really down here. You, me, everybody else. But within our own experience, we have the ability to judge something, and in judging it, we limit it, and then law just takes it, and boom, that's in our experience. I learned this so well with my first husband. I judged him. And after we were divorced, he turned into the nicest guy with his next wife. And I remember I was over picking my son up once, and he lived like 4 hours away, so I was spending the night, and saw them interact and thought, where was he when I was married to him? And as I learned about how life works, I got it. He could have been right there, but the problem was I was there, and I was in the way. It was my limiting thoughts about him that created my experience of him as being less than limiting. However, you have all things in perfect order. If I had seen him with my God eyes, chances are I never would have ended up with John. So it's all part of the process. But I got that so clearly. It's like, oh, I did that. He was always available. It was like he was a packet of possibility. Pure potential in form, waiting for me to focus on what was right with him instead of what was wrong with him. And if I had focused on what was right with him, that would have collapsed into form. That would have shown up. But instead, I focused on what was wrong with him because I was so absorbed with what was wrong with me, and I was trying to hide it, and so I shoved it down. God forbid anybody should see a flaw. And because there's only one, I projected it out onto him and looked at it on him, and rather than seeing that as an opportunity to heal, because I just had no clue what I would be talking about today back then, rather than seeing that as an opportunity to heal, I just blamed him. And so that's what I got. I did that. But that doesn't mean that we were out of spirit, because spirit is all that there is. And if I had been able to see that, it would have been totally different. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But in our own individual creative process, we have the ability to limit the divine idea and experience the effects of that cause. And what we want to do is come back into seeing perfection, rising up, setting the law in motion with health and happiness and wholeness and abundance and joy and peace and plenty, and then experience that. And it is not to be pressured. It is just to take a breath and think a new thought. Make a new choice, set a new intention, let it go. The farmer does not go back and dig up the seed and wait for it to come to harvest. And stick with it until you get the harvest. Don't abandon it. Well, I tried an affirmation once. Don't abandon it. Stay there until you get your harvest, till it shows up in your hand. Ernest says you're supposed to treat until you can hold it in your hand. He said this is not I forget what his words were, they were too long. This is not airy-fairy, this is not smoke and mirrors. When you create something, you can hold it in your hand, it's real. So stay with it until you've got it and watch it show up. And it doesn't matter how far-fetched it may have seemed in the past. In the mind of God, everything is possible because everything already is. Does that make sense? Now he says something in this upcoming reading this week that I want to talk about. He says we never create, we discover and use. And when we were Center for Creative Living, that was always tricky. What does he mean by that? We never create, we discover and use. It already is, it already exists. It already exists. So our job is in the world of infinite possibilities to find, to discover what we want to have, to focus on that, and to manifest that, to use that packet of possibility, that pure potentiality, and to bring it into form. We don't have to make it happen. I've seen people get so tense. I've seen people feel so pressured. I've seen people try to micromanage every little detail of life. You don't have to do that. Have a little faith that whatever you plant, it's going to grow. You don't have bad soil. You have the best soil that there is. You don't have rocky soil. You've got great soil. If a seed just blows by and lands, it's going to grow. You don't even have to have the best planting. Well, I don't know if I did the right affirmation. You know, I'm not sure I had all those P's in there. I don't know if it was a real treatment. I don't know if that book was good enough that I read. All you have to do is have a thought blow by your head. You have such great soil. And that's also why it's important that you watch what blows by your head. So if you're not clear, don't watch the news at night before you go to bed. Do your gratitude and forgiveness work. If you're not clear, don't talk to people whose intention is to bring you back to where they are instead of grow to where you are. Don't talk to them. If you leave something and you feel bad, don't do that again. It's like if you eat something and it makes you sick, don't eat it again. Pretty straightforward. Because the fertile soil of mind is so fertile and can literally grow anything that if you have a thought just blow by, it will take root. So it's important for you to monitor your thoughts, listen to what you say, and a good friend will listen with you. Really? Is that really what you wanted to say? Is that really how you wanted to frame that? Is that really your story? Think about what you think about. Oh, I can't. It's just too complicated. No, it's not. What's complicated is going back into old patterns and manifesting the same experience over and over and over and then having to deal with that. That's complicated. Think about what you're thinking about. Listen to what you say. Check out your feelings. Check out your state. You can choose what your emotional state is. Oh my God, it's going to rain for another week. There's no place to go. You know, the creek's probably going to rise up into the parking lot again. We're going to have tens of thousands of dollars of repair work to do. And jeez. Or wow, the sun is shining and all is well. Or wow, you just got a call from a friend that you haven't talked to in years and they're doing great. They're going to come see you. Oh wow, you just won this thing. Oh wow, your car doesn't need to be fixed. Oh wow, you just met that person. Wow. Your state is your choice. It's up to you. And whatever it is that you are feeling is casting seeds. So your thought cast seeds, your feelings cast seeds, your actions cast seeds. And those are a little bit easier to see. You know, you're signing that contract, there's going to be an effect of that cause. You take that job, something's going to happen. You marry that person, something's going to happen. It's easier to see when you've got actual actions that things are going to happen. But it is your thoughts that are equally creative. It is your feelings that are equally creative. For that matter, your thoughts and your feelings put you in the position that you're taking action. First is the thought. First is something before the thought. I know that. I don't know what it is. First is the thought. Your thought dictates your feelings. Rational emotive therapy. Go back into the 70s with me. You think a thought before you feel a feeling, period, end of story. Nobody ever just feels a feeling. You always make a decision to feel that feeling. So if you're making a decision anyway, you might as well make a decision to feel a good feeling. A thought and a feeling, and then is the action. So be mindful of all three of those because they are moving you forward in life. Go where you want to go. You get to go wherever you want to go. It's like getting ready to go on to 40 and going, oh, I don't know. Should I go east or should I go west? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Honk, honk, honk. Go somewhere. Think about where you want to go. Do you want to be in a relationship? Do you want to have a creative life? Do you want to have a building life? Do you want to have a lot of money? Do you want to have enough money that you're just fine and you don't want to have to worry about anything? All of those things are great. They are great. Think about where you want to go, set your intention, and then think it, feel it, and do something about it. The phrase is treat and move your feet. And people say, well, if this works, why can't I just do a treatment and not do anything? And I say you can. If you are that clear. I am not that clear. I am almost 35 years into this and I am not that clear. But if you are that clear that you can just sit back on your couch and have everything delivered to your home, that's great. Go for it. Otherwise, get off your butt and do something in your life. Do something. Think a thought. Feel a feeling. Take an action. Move forward. Have something happen. Move the energy. And what you're doing is you're scattering seeds in the amazing fertile soil of mind, which will sprout everything. And if you scatter seeds that you don't like, what do you get to do?
Change it.
You get to weed. You get to weed. And how do you weed? With your forgiveness work, with your gratitude, with your refocusing. Did you have your hand up, Quan? Michaela. Okay. So you get to weed your garden, and you get to decide what seeds you want to plant, and then you get to plant them because you are constantly growing. It is the nature of life itself to grow. Have you ever seen a field that was gotten ready for planting and something happened, maybe it rained, and so they couldn't plant it till the soil dried out, it was a couple of weeks? What happened? Volunteers, whoever said that. Yes, it grew all kinds of things. It grew things that the person who put all of that work into it didn't really intend to grow, but because they pulled their energy back, it went back to its original state, not its pure, perfect, and complete spirit original state. It's pretty neurotic original state, and it grew up in weeds. So there is not time off. There is not, I'm just going to think these thoughts for a little while, because they're going to grow. There is not, well, I'm just going to take the holidays off because I have to be with my family and so I'm just going to be crazy. Don't be crazy. Be sane. Bring in the light. Or don't go. If you're going to go and be crazy, you may just not want to go. Think about it. What are you doing to set this amazing power of the universe in motion? And if you're doing it on the level of the relative in a limited thought, then it is your job to go back to this perfect idea. Everything is perfect, everything is whole, everything is complete, everything is fine. Everything is fine. What is this race consciousness that things are not fine? And I know it's been perpetrated on people through the guise of religion just to try to have mass control over people. Things are fine. You have no original sin. There is no such thing as sin. There is no evil, there is no devil, there is no hell, there is only perfect spirit as you right now. You are a being of light, you are a being of love, you are a being of joy. That is the only truth about you. That is the divine perfect idea. Whatever spirit is, spirit showed up as you. Spirit is not limited, spirit is not broken, spirit never did anything wrong. Erase the blackboard. Start fresh. Take a breath. Put on your God eyes and start off looking in the mirror at that God being that you are, and watch how everybody in your world changes. Jane.
Well, I would love to go to Providence, Rhode Island in November for a couple of days. And I have trouble, it's very, very expensive, like $8,000.
To go to Providence, you need a new travel agent.
I would say so.
That's what the travel agent said.
Oh, no.
That's wrong.
You need a new one.
Yeah, it's on her.
Well,
Second thought, second travel agent.
oh, really? Oh, yeah, but I just, so I would like to know, I'm having trouble deciding, how I want to get there and whether I could drive.
There you go. You can drive.
Buy the gas, I'll drive you there.
You've got a new car, Jane.
I know.
You've got a new car. You want to go to Providence? Get in the car and go.
Oh, that's, yeah.
You've got money. I know you.
King at Midas. Well,
Road trip.
huh?
Road trip.
I think you've got people going to Providence with you, Jane. I think you've got people going to Providence, Rhode Island with you in November. There you go. See? All you have to do is go to what if. What if it's not $8,000? What if there's another way? What if this could be easy
And fun.
and fun? There you go. Yes.
So,
Sherry.
I am so boggled by the big, the big circle and the little circle.
That's because you haven't gotten to the little circle yet.
I think that what I want to know is this big circle, is the idea that it's the basic rule, so we're learning this big, basic, broad concept, and then we will then apply it to the smaller
Yes,
concepts.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
okay, because I was doing either that, or this is the whole world, and it's on a bigger level, like.
Well, that's true, too.
Everybody's all thinking. negative
That's
thoughts,
true
it's
too, but I
causing
think
war.
that's the third circle.
Okay, all right.
We'll take it one circle at a time. And this can get a little mind-boggling, but what it does is it starts to make sense of the lingo, of the concepts. It gives you some sense of why is it Barbara says, all you have to do is think a thought. You can reach your hand out in thin air and grab money and have your bills paid and have all these wonderful things happen. There are laws in effect. There is something going on that is spiritual law. Stop it. There's something going on that is spiritual law. And you can use that, and we use this circle as an example of a way to
How it
just
works.
try to put it into our thought. There's also another circle. And this is another one. It says you, spirit, law, body. This was the one Ernest used later on because it's a flat model, and yet this is a universal circle, this is an individual circle, it is the absolute, it is the relative. I find it easier to just kind of split it all up into little bits of information that is easier to understand. But this is life, this is the creative process. This is when you say, why are we here? This is why we are here. Because whatever spirit is, had some kind of a divine thought to create more life. And so universal law took that and it showed up in form. And according to the multiverse theory, then it's not only one universe, but there are infinite universes. So infinite time and space, infinite life forms, infinite experiences showing up in this lower level But whatever that is, you know, Sherry, that you are not your physical body. That there is more to you. So what is that more? That more is up here. You are a spiritual being with a physical body. You are a spiritual being with a physical life. You are a spiritual being with a job. The job is not who you are. Your money is not who you are. Your past is not who you are. Why? Because those experiences are down here. And this comes out of this through this. Thank you. Anything else? Really? I'm gonna have something harder than a piece of paper next time. Take out what you're gonna give. You are perfect. We're all perfect, whole, and complete. Really. And what I know is that all is one. That this perfect idea in the mind of God of Center for Spiritual Living Asheville and each one of us is whole and complete right here and right now. We have more than enough to do whatever it is we choose to do. We are deeply, deeply blessed in every area of our lives. Nothing broken, nothing missing. We are whole. We are complete. Right here and right now, we are beings of love and light. And I know that the embracing of that plants the seed in the fertile soil of mind, and the only thing that can happen is the growth, the manifestation, and the demonstration of that seed, that thought, that perfect idea as us. And so I know that we are blessed. I know that whatever we do is a blessing in form because we are spirit made manifest as us now. And I know that as we give this gift, that amazing idea of God in form goes with it. Touches the center, blesses the bank, wherever it goes. It is an ongoing blessing of love and light, of the knowingness of spirit as all. So I know that as we give this gift, we are richly blessed in return. Each one of us comes together this night to make this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is. So hold the energy, breathe it in, breathe it in, hold the energy, breathe it in. You are setting spiritual law in motion right here, right now. You are planting that seed. Claim your harvest. That whatever it is returned to you, multiply abundantly. Claim your harvest. You deserve to be rich. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to be whole. For that matter, you are rich. You are happy. You are healthy. You are whole. Right here and right now, as we set this law in motion, the only thing that it can do is take what we give it, multiply it, and give it back. So right here and right now, I know that everything in these baskets is blessed. That as we give that light and love that we are pours forth into this room with our gift, filling it up from the floor to the ceiling and all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us. This ground is holy ground. And I know that that energy touches and blesses and heals each and every one of us. And then it shoots on out to raise the consciousness of every being on this planet into an awareness of life with more than enough, with love and health and joy and wholeness of every kind. Always here, always now, touching every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you. Come on Sunday. I'm going to be